Bionics. Now, I love bionics. They add so much value to individual characters. They allow you to continue your story with more efficiency and continue playing the game of Rimworld slightly easier. Now, our last mod review, I reviewed a lovely bionics mod, and that was Ras Bionics. It's a great mod, and in fact, it was my highest ever reviewed mod on this channel. I love that mod completely. In the comment section, I was asked, though, why I preferred that mod over today's mod. Now, today's mod is the Expanded Prosthetics and Organ Engineering mod. Two mods that I absolutely love and are hugely highly rated. This mod and Ras Bionics. I was asked which one I preferred, and honestly, I can't answer that question until I review this one. So that's what we're going to get into today, and let's start with the content. So as we start looking at the content, let's look at our first impressions. The Steam Workshop page. What is it like and what do we see? Well, the thumbnail originally looks very nice. It shows what's in the mod, gives a rough idea of what there's going to be to follow. It does the job. The rest is very, very comfortably what I expect. It's deep, developed, it's got content, compatibility issues, shows what recommendations there could be. It all works fine. I would maybe like to see this modernized, updated a little bit. I understand that this is a extremely popular mod, and I know that it probably doesn't need an updated Steam Workshop page, but a little bit of modernization would probably go a really long way here. So what does all that content look like in game? Well, here it is, and there is a hell of a lot of it. From my count, we have roughly 74 new items added by this mod and 2 new workbenches. The Bionics workbench and the synthetic nano tissue printer. Now, very interestingly, in the Steam Workshop page, there is 3 workbenches mentioned. I cannot find the third one. Whether this is a me issue or not, I'm not too sure. So they're all different bionics and everything of covering every situation that you might need, different technology costs, resource costs, and different situations for each bionic to be used in. So just an example of some of these, we have a painkiller rib implant, a prosthetic toe, steel arm, surrogate liver, scyther blade, a protective exoskeleton, a bionic ear, a bionic foot, an advanced bionic leg, an advanced bionic foot, power arms, a tactical bionic eye, silent jaws, synthetic tissue, synthetic bone, neuromuscular framework, synthetic hearts, organic optimizing nanobots, heating rib implants, auxiliary AI for combats and workers, tactical cornea implants. The list goes on. You can see there's a lot here, a lot of depth, and I struggled really hard to remember that list. And as I mentioned earlier, there is also going to be research costs associated with all these bionics. A new research tree has been added by the mod creator. It makes sense, kind of, and it all does its job. And I think it's really nice that we've got the depth here that you can go specifically into the things that you're after and what you need most urgently. So there, that's going to be all the content we're going to be looking at. And what do I think? Well, the Steam Workshop page does need some modernizing. I gotta be honest, it does. And the content itself, there's a lot here. Now, a lot sounds like a good thing initially, but I don't necessarily think it is. I like my mods to be concise, and I want to be able to use everything the mod creator has been able to make, and I want to use it the way it's intended. And I don't feel like with the 74 items added by this mod, I'm going to necessarily use all of them in every single playthrough, and it hurts me to say that I don't think we need all of them. I think we could have these in separate mods that are a little bit more specific. But that's just me, and it is just my opinion. I think overall for content though, I'm very happy giving it an 8 out of 10, just because I just don't feel like I'm going to be able to use all the content added by this mod in some of my playthroughs. So next, let's look at the quality of the items and zoom in and see what they look like. And zooming in, we can see that everything is of different colors and everything. It's got different technology and different quality levels accordingly. Now, I also do very much appreciate that the special items that are added by this mod are then given little stars and everything, so they know that they are special and they have been rewarded. And so the eagle-eyed viewers of you out there would probably have noticed there's a little bit of a difference going on between base game and the stuff added by the mod. The shape. This annoys me as well. The stuff added by this mod is obviously a little bit more square, and the stuff in base game is a little bit more rectangular. Now, I don't know about you guys, but it does definitely annoy me, the idea that they're going to be in the same stockpile together, square and rectangle. Different shapes kind of annoy me a little bit. And obviously, this is not a massive thing whatsoever, and I understand that things have to be different to show that they are different from base game. Just a little thing that's annoying me personally. So that's going to be it for the quality section of this mod. Now, I could be really, really mean and mark this mod down just because of the shape of the icons, but I'm not going to do that because I understand that this mod is designed to be played with other mods. So you need the different shapes and everything to differentiate it between other things, and I get that. So I think for quality, I'm very happy giving it a 10 out of 10. Everything is as I expect, and there's just nothing I can fault that's serious. So next, let's move on to the balancing. Now, this is arguably the most important section for this mod review and any other mod that you can ever see on the Steam Workshop page. This mod needs to fit in cohesively with base game vanilla Rimworld whilst providing an extra experience for you to have. And it needs to do that well. Now, as we get into the balancing, I want to start by looking at the tech cost. Now, previous mods that I reviewed that have scored very highly in the balancing have been balanced in the sense of tech cost and tech time. Now, this mod takes things a step further. In order to access any bionics in this mod, from what I can tell, you need advanced fabrication. You need advanced components to make anything that is bionic, which seems almost a step too far. Seems pretty brutal, honestly. You get access to the surrogate organs, so you get the salad of your main course. You get given the lettuce with a little bit of seasoning, and there is a steak at the other end of the table with some lovely home-cooked fries, and you just can't access it until you have advanced fabrication. I understand that this mod is probably designed to be played with a lot of other mods, and for balancing it does kind of make sense in a modded situation, but for base game vanilla Rimworld it just isn't plausible, which is a big shame, honestly. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you look at the bionic arm, the bionic leg, the bionic spine, the bionic toe, bionic nose, and all the rest of the bionic stuff, you need at least 1, 2, 3, even 4 advanced components just to make them. Now, obviously, it only requires a very little extra bit of plasteel. They are generally quite cheap if you're playing with lots of other mods that can get you resources. But for the base game vanilla stuff, there is so much time that's going to have to get involved to create these advanced components, buy them, research them. It seems very, very, very late game if you are playing with it in a base game vanilla way. So in terms of in-game efficiency, how do the different parts work? We'll be looking at the legs in this little comparison. So starting at the lowest efficiency, we have the prosthetic leg at 80%, your regular leg being 100% for obvious reasons. The bionic leg is at 125%, which is a 25% increase, the largest there is. The advanced bionic leg then goes only to 135%, and the Archotech leg is at 150%. So it's always going to be worthwhile grabbing your colonists and forcing them to have bionic legs, especially if they've only got prosthetic or base level legs. The advanced bionic leg just doesn't seem quite worth it. Not sure why it's so low. I guess the Archotech leg has not been changed in its values at all, which is why it's there. I would like to see maybe the Archotech leg buffed even further, just so we can see a little bit more of an improvement on the advanced bionic leg. So next, I've picked out arguably the two most overpowered bionics in this mod, the auxiliary AI for workers and the tactical cornea implant. The buffs that these provide is just ridiculous. Like, they're insane. How are these balanced? Well, these require an MA AI chip in order to make these, 1 or 2 in a lot of situations, for a lot of other bionics as well. How do you make one of these chips, Joe? Well, persona cores. Holy shit! It's just persona cores to make these, like 1 or 2 persona cores just to make one of these bionics seems absolutely ridiculous. Now, like I said, and I keep saying, in a mod pack where you're playing with lots of other mods, this is probably fine. It's a shrug of the shoulders and, oh yeah, I'll just go grab one of those from down the road. My mate Jim has got one in the corner shop. But in vanilla Rimworld, I can count on my hand how many times I've seen a persona core in my base game vanilla playthroughs. This is asking a lot of some players that are maybe playing with not very many mods at all, and are maybe not that experienced. So next, I wanted to look at a new feature that I haven't seen in any of the mods before: bionic rib implants. Now, I was very intrigued by these because in the mod creators workshop page, he says that they stack. Now, I'm not one for being an overpowered abuser, but this could be overpowered. So with the adrenaline rib implant that increases moving by 5%, the coagulator rib implant decreases your total bleed factor, the cooling rib implant increases your comfortable temperature range, the drug rib implant decreases your consciousness, the painkiller rib implant increases your pain tolerance, the respiration rib implant decreases your mental break threshold, the wake up rib implant just makes you more awake, and the heating rib implant, it also increases your comfortable temperature range. And the medical rib implant increases your blood filtration. A muscle stimulator is very interesting, increases your carry capacity, your melee hit chance, your move speed, your part efficiency. Very overpowered. So as I just said, theoretically, these rib implants are stackable. We as humans have 24 ribs. If it was me, I'd have the bottom 2 removed so I can do roly-polies a little bit easier. In Rimworld, however, I could only implant 10 ribs into a colonist. Despite them saying that they were all stackable and everything, from what I could understand, I could only stack the muscle stimulators. Now, these are arguably the most overpowered ones, increasing moving speed, increasing part efficiency, and increasing carrying capacity. I like that I am limited though, because it does make things a little bit more balanced. It would be really overpowered to just fill somebody full of ribs, the painkiller ribs, so they just don't take like any pain whatsoever. I get it, and I think it was a necessary thing. So the balancing, where am I at with this? Well, I don't know. I've not reviewed a mod that is very obviously balanced in certain situations and not balanced in other situations before. But we've got to go back to how I do these videos. Every single mod is reviewed in terms of its balancing and everything compared to base game vanilla Rimworld. And compared to base game vanilla Rimworld, this mod just isn't balanced. It's too hard to get any of the items in this mod. What's the point in playing with a mod if you're not going to be able to access pretty much anything till the very end of your game? It feels like it's trying to be hard to access, but not being considerate of some players that aren't playing without mods. I think if you are using this in the modded playthrough, this is extremely balanced though. Like if you're playing with the quarry mod and everything, this mod is balanced because it is time and resource heavy in terms of why you cannot access certain things. The items themselves though are balanced. I think all the percentage efficiencies and everything makes sense. And I think being able to access the really overpowered things is really difficult, which is what it should be. For balancing, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Just because I don't think this is suitable for base game Rimworld at all, in fact. But for modded stuff, it's fantastic. So I'm going to give it right in the middle, 5 out of 10. Easy peasy. So next, let's look at compatibility. Are there any bugs I need to let you know about, and how is this going to work with your playthroughs? In terms of bugs, me personally, no issues whatsoever. No issues installing anything, and no issues removing anything. It all worked perfectly, which is what we like. However, looking on the Steam Workshop page and reading through the discussion to see if there was any things I need to let you know about, holy moly, people seem to be having a lot of issues with some mods. There seems to be a lot of discrepancy, and there are things that people are doing that aren't necessarily working right. This is obviously not an issue I've had because I'm not using any other mods, so please be careful with that. And for very obvious reasons as well, don't use this with Ra's bionics. This is not compatible with that mod whatsoever. And what sort of playthrough is this going to fit in with? Well, funnily enough, this isn't going to work with anything that's a tribal or medieval. I think this mod will fit in perfectly with anything that's industrial and above if you're using a mod that is going to allow you to get a lot of resources over a reasonable amount of time. The Quarry mod, Rim Factory, any mod that's going to give you access to infinite resources in a fairly balanced way, this mod will work perfectly with. If you're using a mod pack that's not got very much in it, I don't think this is for you. And I think overall for compatibility, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Not because I think this is incompatible with things, and not because I think this is a bad mod or anything. I just don't think this is accessible to as many people as it could be, which is kind of a shame. But next, let's look at my mod recommendations. Now, this is where this mod is going to really shine through. This mod is designed to be played with other mods, and it's going to excel in this function. So here's a few mods that I've picked out specifically. So starting, let's look at the craftable cores mod, so you can actually access some of these more overpowered bionics. The more linkables mod, so you can craft the bionics just that little bit quicker. And the master of crafting mod, so you can actually make loads of these advanced components and components all at the same time. And colorful sterile tiles, so you can make a nice pretty hospital to make everything with. And the quarry mod, the perfect infinite resource mod for you and I. This mod could fit in just so many different mods. I literally am struggling to recommend specific ones because it will fit in with just everything. All right, I think overall for mod recommendations, I'm going to be giving it a 9 out of 10 though. Only been marked down because obviously it doesn't fit in with medieval nor tribal mods, which is a little bit of a shame. So lastly, let's look at my conclusion. Now, I have to state right at the beginning here that despite the score of this mod is designed to be played in mod packs, and if you're using a mod pack that is industrial and above, please use this mod because it fits in perfectly with those mods. So for content, it received 8 out of 10. For quality, 10 out of 10. balancing 5 out of 10, compatibility 7 out of 10, and my mod recommendations 9 out of 10, giving it 39 out of 50, which is a very solid B-rated mod. It's just such a shame that the balancing is so mod dependent. Comparing this mod to base game vanilla Rimworld, it just doesn't fit in, and I don't think that that is a very good thing for a mod. I'd love to see there to be some options to maybe make the cost of items a little bit less, or maybe there's a compatibility patch somewhere that does this. I don't know, but I still highly recommend you check out this mod, and please use this and support the mod creator. So if you have enjoyed this mod review, please consider liking, subscribing, make sure you tell your mum about me, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.